Have you ever laid beside someone and wondered if their love was real? If what they felt ran deeper than the surface touch or fleeting words? According to renowned psychologist Carl Jung, our truest selves are often revealed not in what we say, but in how we act when we think no one's watching, especially in moments of vulnerability like those we share in bed. These moments, stripped of pretense, whisper secrets that words often fail to express. In today's video, we'll dive deep into the hidden language of love through the lens of Jungian psychology. Discover the 4 profound things men only do in bed when they are truly, deeply in love. These aren't just romantic gestures, they are unconscious signals from the soul. Let's begin this journey into the unconscious, and perhaps into your own heart as well. Chapter 1. He becomes emotionally naked. For centuries, society has conditioned men to suppress their emotions. From a very young age, boys are taught to be tough, to hide their tears, to stand strong no matter how deeply they hurt inside. Vulnerability, in many cultures, is seen as weakness, something to be avoided at all costs. But something changes when a man truly falls in love. The emotional barriers begin to crack. The armor starts to loosen, and in the quiet, intimate setting of the bed, often shielded by the darkness of night and the closeness of a trusted partner, a man dares to reveal his inner self. Emotional nakedness is not about physical exposure. It's about allowing someone to see the parts of you that are usually hidden, the doubts, the fears, the insecurities, the dreams. In bed, when a man is deeply in love, he begins to open that door. It might start with simple things: a confession about a childhood memory that shaped him, an admittance of something he regrets, or a story about someone he lost. These aren't just words, they're offerings. He is placing parts of his soul in your hands, trusting you to hold them gently. Carl Jung referred to this process as the integration of the shadow. The shadow is the collection of all the traits, memories, and feelings that a person represses, usually because they don't fit within the identity that society accepts. For many men, their shadow is filled with pain they never had permission to express. But love creates that permission. Love says, "You're safe here. You can be all of who you are." And in response, the man opens up in ways he never thought possible. This emotional exposure doesn't always come in grand declarations. Often, it's found in the quiet moments: the way he talks to you after sex, how he reaches for your hand without words, how he lets a tear roll down without shame. It's in the silence where he lays still, not asleep but thinking, and allows you to see that he's not a statue of strength, but a mosaic of hope, fear, love, and longing. There's a reason why so many meaningful conversations happen in bed. The body is relaxed, the mind is softened, the heart is more open. It is here that a man will talk about his failures, his broken dreams, the burdens he carries. And when he does this, he's not just venting. He is inviting you deeper into his psyche. He is saying, "This is who I really am, not the man I show the world, but the man I am when I feel safe." This kind of emotional honesty is rare. It cannot be faked. It cannot be manipulated. It happens only when a man feels a deep emotional bond, when he is not afraid of being judged or bound, and for the things he hides. And it's in bed, away from the performance of daily life, that he allows those pieces of himself to surface. In Jungian terms, this is the beginning of individuation, the lifelong process of becoming whole. And for men, love is often the catalyst. Love pulls the shadow into the light. It helps a man confront who he really is, not in shame but in acceptance. And when he shares this process with you, when he opens up about the war inside him, it's because he sees you not just as a lover, but as a witness to his soul. So if you find that your partner begins to talk more in bed, not just about the day, but about his past, his feelings, his fears, that's not just intimacy. That's emotional nakedness. That's love in its rawest, most human form. This is how you know, not by what he does during sex, but by what he reveals after. The quiet truths, the long-held pain, the vulnerable whispers, These are the gifts of a man in love. Chapter 2. He prioritizes your comfort over his. There's something remarkable about the way love transforms of priorities. When a man is deeply in love, his attention shifts not just from himself to his partner, but from personal gratification to shared emotional fulfillment. Nowhere is this more evident than in the intimacy of bed, where vulnerability meets scare in its purest form. In casual relationships or lust-driven encounters, a focus often leans toward physical satisfaction. There's a rhythm, a routine, even a sense of detachment that keeps things comfortable and unspoken. But when love enters the equation, the entire dynamic changes. A man in love becomes more attentive, more patient, and surprisingly more intuitive. He's not just aware of his own experience, he is deeply invested in yours. This change is subtle but powerful. It starts with how he listens to your body and emotions. He begins to notice the small things: a shift in your breathing, a change in your tone, the way you pull the blanket closer, or the way your eyes dart away when something feels off. These are not observations for control, they are reflections of genuine care. He wants to ensure that you feel safe, heard, and valued. Carl Jung believed in the concept of the anima, the unconscious feminine inside of a man's psyche. When a man is in love, he begins to integrate this anima. He becomes more nurturing, more empathetic, and more emotionally intelligent. In bed, this psychological transformation translates into thoughtful actions. He'll pause to ask how you're feeling. He'll adjust his behavior based on your responses, not just to please you physically, but to connect with you emotionally. Comfort, in this sense, goes far beyond physical touch. It's about emotional warmth. He creates space where you can be yourself without fear. He doesn't rush or pressure. Instead, he moves in harmony with your pace, whether that means slowing down to match your energy or holding you longer just to make sure you feel loved. Perhaps most significantly, he remembers. He remembers what you like, what makes you smile, what makes you tense. He applies that memory to future moments. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. Each time he chooses your comfort over his convenience, he's making a silent declaration of love. This attentiveness continues even after intimacy. He might bring you water without being asked. He might hold you until you fall asleep. He might check in the next day, asking how you felt about the night before. These actions don't come from obligation. They come from a deep place of affection and respect. It's also important to note that a man who prioritizes your comfort does so because he values you as an equal, not as a conquest. He wants to build something with you, something lasting. And comfort, emotional or physical, is foundational to any lasting bond. Jung wrote about the union of opposites, the coming together of masculine and feminine energies to create a greater whole. In bed, when a man balances strength with gentleness, passion with patience, he is embodying that union. He is not just taking care of you, he is honoring the relationship itself. So the next time you lie beside someone, ask yourself, do you feel safe? Do you feel heard? Do you feel cherished? If the answer is yes, it's likely because the man next to you is not just physically close, but emotionally committed. This is what love looks like in bed, not fireworks. Not perfection, but quiet, steady care. The kind of care that sees you, supports you, and puts your comfort first, not as a duty, but as a joy. Chapter 3. He creates sacred space. There is a silent magic that happens when two people in love enter the same bed, not merely as bodies seeking pleasure, but as souls seeking communion. For a man deeply in love, the bed is not just a place for physical intimacy, it becomes a sacred space, a sanctuary, a temple where the deepest parts of his heart can reach out to yours. To a man in love, preparing the space where you both rest becomes a form of emotional expression. He might dim the lights, adjust the pillows, tidy the sheets, or choose music that makes you feel calm and present. These aren't grand gestures, they are quiet rituals. And rituals, Jung believed, connect us to our deeper selves and to the sacred within life. Carl Jung often spoke of the symbolic nature of life and how sacred rituals act as bridges between the conscious and the unconscious. For a man in love, transforming his bedroom or even just the atmosphere of the bed into a space of safety and serenity is an unconscious ritual. It is how he turns an ordinary experience into something holy. In this sacred space, everything slows down. He doesn't want the moment to end quickly. He doesn't rush, doesn't just chase a goal he savors. Whether it's the first kiss of the evening, the warmth of your skin against his, or the calm of lying together afterward, every part of the moment becomes meaningful. This is also the space where laughter blooms, where tears are shared, where silence isn't awkward but full of emotion. He may open up more easily here. You may find that your most intimate conversations happen when you're both lying in the dark, speaking truths you don't tell anyone else. That's not accidental. That's the power of the sacred space he's helped to create. More than anything, a sacred space in bed reflects one truth: he sees your connection as something worth protecting. He values not just your body, but your presence, your soul, your safety. He wants this to be the one place in the world where you never have to be anything other than yourself. In such a space, love breathes. And when a man treats this space with reverence, he is not just showing you love, he's showing you how much your love means to him. Chapter 4. He becomes vulnerable in silence. There are moments in intimacy where words fall away, and only silence remains, for a man deeply in love. This silence is not empty, it's full. It holds emotion and spoken affection, fears, hopes, and dreams. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances if there is any reaction. Both are transformed. This reaction often finds its truest form not in speech, but in shared stillness. It is in those quiet, vulnerable moments that a man reveals his most authentic self, not by what he says, but by what he allows himself to feel in your presence." In the earliest stages of attraction, many men use words, charm, and movement to impress. But when love deepens, all of that falls away. He no longer feels the need to perform or to prove anything. Instead, he may lie beside you in bed, watching the ceiling, your fingers intertwined, saying nothing at all, and yet, in that silence, something sacred is spoken. That is the vulnerability Jung referred to: a meeting of two unconscious minds, two souls colliding in peaceful union. A man deeply in love will not fill silence with distractions. He won't scroll through his phone or jump up to fill space with meaningless activity. Instead, he's present. His breathing slows. His body relaxes. His gaze softens. In these moments, he's allowing himself to simply be with you, with himself and with the feelings that rise and fall like waves. He is not afraid of what he feels. He does not run from it. He stays. And in that staying, in that quiet stillness, he becomes more vulnerable than words could ever make him. This vulnerability doesn't make him weak. On the contrary, it makes him profoundly strong. It means he trusts you. He trusts you enough to let his guard down. He trusts you enough to let you see the cracks in his armor. Jung would say that this is when a man is integrating his shadow, the hidden aspects of himself he doesn't show the world. In bed, in silence and love, he shows them to you. Not because he has to, but because he wants to. Because love, true love, invites the soul out of hiding. You may notice this when he turns to you without speaking, seeking comfort in your eyes, or when he holds you tighter, not out of passion, but from a deep need to be close. You might see it in the way he breathes, slow and steady, synchronizing with yours. These are the signs of a man who has surrendered, not in defeat, but in trust and love. Sometimes he may cry, not because something is wrong, but because everything feels right and that rightness overwhelms him. Tears are not a weakness. They are a sign that he has broken through the layers of conditioning that told him to be strong, to hold it together, to never let anyone see him fall apart. In your arms, he is allowed to fall apart and know he will be held. Carl Jung believed that love was the process of individuation of becoming whole. And wholeness requires vulnerability. It demands that we let another see the parts of us that are unfinished, unsure and sometimes afraid. In bed, when a man is silent and vulnerable, he is walking that path. He is trusting you with his process. He is allowing you into his sacred space, not just physically but spiritually. So if you ever find yourself lying in bed with a man who holds you in silence, who breathes with you, who cries beside you without shame, know this: he loves you. Deeply, fiercely, truly, and in that love, he has found the courage to be exactly who he is. Without masks, without armor. Just him, just you, just love. That is the beauty of vulnerability in silence. That is the truth Carl Jung understood. And that is what only a man deeply in love will ever dare to do. Conclusion. The unspoken language of love. In the deepest towers of the night, when the world is quiet and the masks have fallen, what remains is the truth of a man's heart. All the things he cannot say in daylight, he shows in the shadows, in his touch, in his breath, in his stillness. Carl Jung believed that love opens a portal to the unconscious. And in those intimate hours, this portal reveals more than any words ever could. When a man is truly in love, he does not perform. He does not pretend. He becomes. He becomes a mirror to his own soul and yours. He becomes vulnerable in ways he never imagined naked, not just in body but in soul. His love transcends action and enters the realm of energy, presence, and emotional communion. These moments when he pauses to hold you for no reason, when he adjusts your pillow so your neck doesn't ache, when he lingers even after pleasure has passed, these are not random. They are sacred. They are rituals. They are the footprints of all that has evolved beyond lust, beyond ego, beyond fear. And when he looks at you afterward, not with hunger but with softness, perhaps even all, you'll know he has surrendered. Not to you, but to something greater. To connection, to trust, to the mystical bond Carl Jung might have called the union of souls. So the next time you're in bed with someone, and the night grows long, ask not what he says. Watch what he does. Feel how he breathes. Sense the silence between words. For it is in these moments that you'll discover if he is merely present, or if he is truly in love. That is the unspoken language of a man deeply in love. That is the truth behind the silence. And that is the kind of love worth waiting for.